Namaskar, hello, and welcome to this show, Defense Capital Conversations. It's a pleasure to have you all watching this. Today, we have a very special guest, and also we are dealing with a topic that is, current and contemporary, which is the Iran-Israel war, and we are particularly focusing on the air defense part of it. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Lieutenant General B.K. Saxena, who is a former Director General of Army Air Defence at the Indian Army. He's also a distinguished fellow at the Vivekananda International Foundation and also a visiting fellow at the Center for Land Warfare Studies, which essentially researches on the Indian Army side of the military affairs. And also he's a Chair of Excellence at the United Service Institution of India. Lieutenant General Saxena is also a United Nations scholar with an MPhil and PhD and a law scholar at the National Law School of India University. He's a prolific writer and a knowledgeable person as far as air defense is concerned. And today, what we intend to do is to talk with him about the Israel-Iran war that started on June 13th, when Israel launched its Operation Rising Lion, and with impunity struck at Israeli targets, including the nuclear facilities and military infrastructure, apart from assassinating some of the key military leaders of Iran. In this episode, we'll be talking to Lieutenant General on the aspects of air defense and why Israel could strike Iran in a much effective manner, and why Iran's air defense failed, probably for the second time since the 2024 operation that they did. Let us hear more details from the expert on the subject. Lieutenant General Saxena, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure talking to you, sir. Let's begin with what happened. One of the Israeli Mossad operative by the name Zohar Palti, who apparently mentioned post the June 13, 2025 strikes by Israel, that the speed with which Israel took down Iranian air defense was completely shocking for him. And it's a statement that kind of enumerates what is the impact of the Israeli strikes on Iran on June 13th. And of course, it's more than a week now since it happened, and things have been escalating with the United States striking at least 3 nuclear facilities and completely destroying them just last night. Yeah. And it's a massive improvement or rather escalation that has happened in the Iran-Israel war this time around. The big question is, how come the Iranian air defenses failed so much? And could you just go deeper and tell us about the might of Iranian air defense and see how they succumbed like 9 pins for the second time in a row, post that October 2024 operations that Israeli conducted?
Actually, sir, this statement by Johar Palti captures the essence of Iranian air defense's failure, because it is not very common for a substantial air defense to fall like 9 pins in this manner. And that is what is worrying to most experts on air defense as to why this happened. But if you go dig deeper, the answers become very clear. We can just start by saying that what defines the air defense prowess or capability of a nation? Those are 5 important factors. First of all, very basic is that all air defenses in the world are actually designed to counter the enemy's air threat, whether it is conventional air threat by aircrafts, attack helicopters, cruise missiles, ARMs, and so on, or the drone-based threat, which may be small drones or UCAVs and so on. So that is the basic purpose. And how the air defense, all air defenses are uh, basically configured around 3 verticals. One is a sensor, one is a shooter, one is a battle management and control system. Very basically, sensors to detect the enemy air threat at long ranges, shooters to intercept and kill the threat, and battle management and control system to manage the air defense battle. Now, all these 3 systems in Iran had substantial strength. How come they fell? The first thing to remember and first thing to judge about this story is, what is it which defines this threat? What is it which defines the strength of this air defense? First is vintage and obsolescence of weapons. You see, air threat evolves continuously. Today there is fourth generation, tomorrow there will be fifth generation, day after there is sixth generation. Today there is a combat range of 250, tomorrow a combat range of 3000 kilometers. Today the standoff range is 20 kilometers, tomorrow it will be 120 kilometers. Today the precision weapons are hitting 20-meter accuracy, tomorrow they will be hitting at sub-meter accuracy. Our air defense weapons need to keep up with the vintage and obsolescence in terms of meeting the air threat technologically. That did not happen here. I will explain. Number two point was the qualitative edge in the Iranian air defense is getting degraded over a period of time because they did not bother to upgrade the air defenses in a manner in which the air threat has gone up. Then the third point is regarding the quantitative adequacy. Everybody is saying that deployed air defense is everywhere and they had multi-layered air defense. Then how come somewhere they lacked on the quantitative uh, adequacy of the weapon system? Now, starting with these basics, they also had certain lacking in their control and reporting system, in their battle management and control system. Now, this is a very complex system. I'll be explaining it later. Even in that system had a little bit of a suboptimality. Now, looking at the face of it, you will, if somebody reads the Iranian Air Defense, it'll come out to be a substantial force. Now, look at the sensors of the Iranian Air Defense. Now, the sensors or the ones which detect the air threat are a large number of sensors are there in Iran. There is a radar called Sapphire radar. It is a over-the-horizon radar with a capability of 3000 kilometer range. Actually demonstrated 700 kilometer in combat range. Then there is a radar called Ghadir and Ghamar radar. Ghadir radar, or also called the Ghadir radar, is a phased array radar, not a bad technology. Also, Ghamar radar is a three-dimensional radar with a range of 450 kilometers. Then there are certain radars which are optimized for low RCS, low small target detection. These include the Ghamar, the Alim. Their radars are range of 350-400 kilometers. Then there are S300 PMU system with Iran, which has a range of radars from 180 to 360 kilometers. So what do we talk about these sensors? Adequate. They had Sapphire, they had Ghadir, they had Gamar, they had Mataul Fazar, a radar with a range of 300 kilometers, optimized for small target detection. Also, they had S300 PMU radars. This is sensors. Now come to the shooters, the firearm. The firearm of Iranian Air Defense is no less. It is starting from their basic terminal end. Do not count in this war. But guns which are 2-3 kilometers range, like you have Z223, you have Misbah, you have other 100 millimeter old vintage guns, large number of guns. Then there are surface gun missile systems like Shelka, ZS-257. They are all there in their inventory. Then they had number of manpads. They had their original uh, indigenous manpad, Misga. Then they had a manpad called Kaem. And then they had Chinese manpad HN5. And the Swedish manpad RBS-70. Come to their short range system, 20 to 30 kilometer range. Iranian have a beautiful system called Azaraksh. It ranges 25 kilometers, short range missile system. Then they had Strela, which is 5 kilometers, Osa AK, which is 10 kilometers. Then their strength also lay in large number of medium range air defense weapons. Their medium range has predominantly Russian oriented weapons like KB-12, or they have a system called TOR, 25 kilometers. Then they had a range of US Hawk, 50 kilometers. Then they had a system which is 75 kilometer in range, which is the Tabas system. Large number of MR systems are there. And then long range, Iran is known to have a long range missile systems of air defense, a large number of them. First of all, is their Arman system. This Arman system is inducted in February 2024. It has got a range of 180 kilometers. Then they have a Shaheen system. Then they also have the Khorad series of MRSAM system. And you must have heard of the latest Bawar 373 system. It has got a range inducted in 2019. It has got a range of 180 to 360 kilometers. So what I'm trying to get at that they had good amount of sensors, they had a good amount of air defense weapons in terms of terminal weapon, short range air surface to air missiles, medium range missiles, long range missiles, and also had S-300 PMU system. It is radars have a range of 180 to 600 kilometers, and the missiles have a range from 40 kilometers to 300 kilometers. With all this, then what happened? How did they just fall? This is where the question of analysis comes. The thing about air defense and the thing about Iranian air defense and their falling and non-performance does not start on 13th June 2025. It started in way back 4 years back, 3 years back, when the Israeli intelligence agencies like Mossad, what did they do? They infiltrated into the Iranian system of things. They tried to find out the precise location of air defense weapons, their deployment, their SAM site, their beside the nuclear installation, missile storage site, missile storage factories, seat of power, and so on. As regards air defense, because air defense is a very precise thing. Either you hit a launcher or the launcher will cause damage to you. So it requires absolute precise location of where their air defense SAMs are located. Their air defense SAMs are located at nuclear sites, they are located at national seat of power, they are located at missile storage site, they are located in missile manufacturing capabilities, they are located in various silos in IRGC's headquarters, in population center. They tried to find out the precise location of that. How did they do it? You know that the regime in Iran, the large number of unsatisfied or protesters which do not like this regime, they are the ones which can be compromised. So Mossad believed on compromising this large number of people and infiltrated their personnel. What did they do? They put by after finding out their location, they put the precision guided munitions like remote controlled weapon stations, like surface to surface anti tank missiles, like loitering munition at precise locations. They did not hit, they just put it there. Long time. They moved multiple pickup trucks, small vehicles, and carried in them what? Carried in them kamikaze drones, small tactical drones, the various types of launchers. They just positioned them firstly in not one year, 2 years. This intelligence was gathered over a large period of time. This was first thing that they did is to compromise the air defenses. Number one. Number two, what did they do? They passed this intelligence and trained the experts who will fire them remotely. These experts were trained outside Iran and infiltrated as business personnel, contract personnel, one to one, and placed them in location where they can impart training to Israeli teams which are operating these weapon systems. After doing that, how did they quantify? Now compare, first of all, now you understand that there is a plot, there is a big ambush which is placed not only on one, multiple surface to air missile sites, their launchers, their distance. This is one side. Number one. Number two, they took out their one of the best fighters, F-35I either, other, other called the mighty one. What is so important about it? The first and the most important thing about Adir is it is a super stealthy aircraft. It has got a RCS radar cross section of point 3 times 0.15 meters square, 0.00015 meters square. And you know what is the RCS of MiG-21? 1.2. Su-30, 3 meters. Now, such a small RCS, very difficult for anybody to detect. Now consider the air defense radars of Iran against this target. They are the ones which are of the vintage 2010 to 14, except take out one or two radar, Maltaul Fazar, which has come in 2024, and some other radars. This sort of a stealth radar, stealth target was beyond their capability to detect. Number one. Number two, the state of readiness. I have analyzed it earlier also in October. The state of readiness of Iranian air defenses is not what can be desired. First of all, this attack took place on the early wee hours of 13th June. They said that many of these air defenses were not deployed. They were in their sheds, they were in their resting places, and therefore most of the air defenses were taken down in their state. Now imagine, and also these weapon system in 100 aircrafts in 5 waves starting from Israel with what? With their electronic warfare suit, which is particularly capable to take down the radars of S-300 PMU system. Also, they had conformal fuel tanks which can take them to 1700 kilometer extra range. This mission has taken them 2000 kilometer. And what about their missiles and weapons? They had Python air to surface missile, which is a deadly missile. They had Spice precision guide weapon kit. They had very good stand-off weapons with precision. Most importantly, they had very good electronic warfare suit, which killed most of the air defense, most of the sensors of S-300 PM. Now imagine on one side here you have radars which may be over the horizon, phased array, three-dimensional, but their vintage is not matching with the qualitative superiority of the air attack which is coming on them, with the type of weapon which is being thrown to them, which is type of electronic warfare attack which is inflicted on the weapon system. And to make things worse, as this attack progresses, all these weapons, remote control weapon stations, these drones, this loitering munition, this precision guided munition is let off from their precise location which has been placed by this Mossad and the expert agencies for a long time and destroy most of the surface to air weapon system. If you don't have to destroy a full air defense system. You have to only take out its eyes and ears. You have to take out its combat control system which is controlling the missile. The system become ineffective. Thirdly, and which is more importantly, nobody is talking about the battle management control capability of air defense of Iran. Nothing much has heard on its system, but I can safely assume that if given the electronic warfare suit of the Albert system which has been put in the F-35 and F-15I which came behind, they were no match to delete this threat or to degrade this threat. And that is why this threat, look at the threat which is from the air, look at the threat which is the destruction we only call from the air threat, the electronic warfare attack which comes, or the attack which comes from the air suppresses the enemy air defense. This operation is called SEAD, or suppression of enemy air defense. But what Israel did is not suppression. They did DEAD, destruction of enemy air defense. How destruction? By launching various types of missiles, by launching various types of drones, by launching various types of precision guided munition, by launching remote control weapon system precisely located to take out the surface to air missile system, to take out the air defense. I'm not talking of small guns. I'm not talking of even their man-pad. They did not play. What we played was these short range surface to air missiles, medium range surface to air missile, long range surface to air missile. If you hit them physically in this manner with precise weapon, and you bring in aircraft which are far technologically superior for you to detect, they flew over Iraq, and that Iraqi air defenses were degraded well before their sensors were taken out, well before. It is known that the Iranian air defense looks 400 to 650 kilometers outside their border. That is their surveillance strength. But the type of capability of this air threat to avoid the radar zones of these Iranian air defenses and to hit at their blind spots. Once you take out these sensors, if you look at the streaming videos which have been put out, how far true they are, I don't know. But they are showing how various radars, long range radars, are made defunct. and thereafter destroyed by various types of missiles, either by launched by the aircrafts or the weapons which are launched from a ground to kill them. Now look at the strategy. You know very well that F-35I Adir is operationally matched with F-15I RAM. Their two are operational twins. Their systems are totally interoperable and they are complementary to each other. So once the 360-degree battlefield awareness and 360-degree attack of the electronic warfare system took place on the Iranian air defenses and their control system, it was followed by physical attacks from air to ground missile. And thereafter, once these were degraded, the next wave of attacks was F-15I, which carried the heavy loading, heavy lifting of various types of rocket guided laser guided rockets, bombs, precision guided bombs made precise by spice kits and so on. And that was the undoing of the Iranian air defenses. Not to forget that there were also cyber attacks. You heard of that company with a very difficult name, just like Daranze. It is um, uh, predator, predatory sparrows. They had the cyber attacks on centrifuge, which started failing. Who knows that these also carried out cyber attacks against the communication, connectivity, and the control capability of the Iranian battle management and control system for air defenses. Who knows? It must have been degraded because it must be in their scheme of things. As one of the Israeli intelligence officers have said, in fact, their pilot has said, going and launching an operation 1500 kilometers from home is not a walk in the park. It is certainly not a walk in the park. It is an operation which is planned precisely, intelligence gathered over for 3 to 4 years, precise weapons placed to kill and destroy air defenses. Coupled with that, bring in super stealthy aircrafts, not only one, 105 waves. Thereafter, degrade on ground and from the air, both soft and hard kill, and follow it up with F-15. That is what
Absolutely.
the
Absolutely,
that is
sir.
what
It's a overall beautifully you have explained the picture of how Israeli attacks happened on the air defense system, the capabilities of the Iran. But what I'm reading from the reports that's coming out of Iran is that their, air defense early warning systems did, identify and detect the incoming projectiles and the drones that happened shortly after midnight, particularly in installations such as Natanz, Isfahan, and Bandar Abbas, locations that they do detect these incoming projectiles and the drones. But what really happened was that there was a delay in the coordinated response of Iran's air defense systems, particularly because of the low observable stealth munitions and the electronic warfare techniques that the Israelis adopted. So, and this completely disrupted the Iranian command and control networks. So, just explain to us why there could have been a delayed response from the air defense system. By the time they could respond, the attacks would have been completed, and all the aerial assets of Israel would have been long way back towards Israel. So, this failure happened at the local level. Could you just
and
explain why
yeah.
this what could have sort of triggered this, failure on the Iranian air defense side, in spite of all the SEAD and the DEAD attacks that the Mossad operatives who were, impregnated into Iran and then, hid for some time before they did this SEAD and DEAD attacks on the air defense systems of Iran.
Actually, two things. You asked a very important question. When I was taking you through the Iranian air defense, guns and missile system, short range, medium range, long range, you would have noticed a very, very important shortcoming.
Yes,
The
sir.
shortcoming was there is a serious lack of anti-drone weaponry. What is anti-drone weaponry? Anti-drone is a specific weaponry in terms of surveillance and kill. This surveillance in anti-drone system, because they are so small in their size, in their RCS, you require electro-optical, radio frequency, infrared or acoustic, EO, acoustic, backed by precision radars like X-band radar, frequency modulated continuous wave radar, or the latest drone detection radar, which the DRDO has just put out a drone detection radar in a precise range of 5 to 15 kilometers. Now that I took you through the various air defense radars of Iran, you would have found that there is something peculiarly missing is their capability to detect small drone threat. Then their capability to kill the small drone threat is by RF killing, is by electronic warfare. RF means RF jamming, electronic killing it by electronic warfare, by hacking, spoofing, and so on. Killing
Yeah,
by hard kill using air defense weapons or using missile HMGs, LMGs means hard. Saturating the area with fire. They had Shilka weapon system. It fired 3,400 rounds per minute for 4 barrels, but they could not detect the threat as to where to launch. That is one. Now imagine I'm continuously talking about air defense control and reporting system or battle management control and reporting system. Air defense battle is very complex. You know, the sensors are only eyes, they are not brains. Eyes I can see, but unless my brain interprets, I do not know. You know what is this system does? Air defense control and reporting system. Suppose there are 100 radars. It first of all fuses the input. Suppose a target is coming. Five radars are seeing the target at the same time. They will report five targets. First thing which this air defense control and reporting system does is to fuse the multiple input from radars and removes duplication. It creates an air situation picture. In that air situation picture, it quickly checks out which is our own aircraft, own is not there in this scenario, which is the enemy aircraft, which is called the identification friend or foe. The picture which comes out is then called the recognized air situation picture. Based on that, then it checks out, okay, this is the picture, which is the target which is coming to us the first, which is most lethal, which is the weapon which is most suitable to attack it. Then passing this target data to that weapon in mere real time, and thereafter ensuring the successive fire of the weapons over the target till the time it is destroyed. It looks very simple, as I say. It is a very complex battle. Even the sensors, which may be in space, which may be in air, which may be in ground, have to be all hierarchically linked, and they have to be made into one surveillance grid. And all this is taking place in a matter of few minutes. In a matter of few minutes and seconds, air defense battle is a fast-flowing battle. So what performed suboptimally is not only their radars and their air defense, surface to air missiles, short and medium range and long range, which were destroyed also on destroyed on ground. It is also the suboptimality of their control and reporting system, which did not play up. I am not saying we have the advantage of the hindsight. We do not exactly know what communication and connectivity failed at what. Where was the handshake failed between the radars or the controllers to the shooters? But the but the very fact that within 36 hours a small country like Israel declares air superiority over a country like Iran in Tehran airspace clearly says that the air defenses which are responsible for air denial did not play up. Now you'll say, okay, air defense did not play, and also their anti-drone weaponry was missing. Somebody can just question, what about their air force? Air Force could have activated and they could have fought these aircrafts one on one. They could have done interception. They could have done this. In one of the accounts of a Israeli pilot, he said that they scrambled a lot of aircraft, but they could not do a fight. In fact, he used a satirical sentence. They fled on seeing us. Then nobody fled in this manner. He said, I wanted to take down an enemy aircraft. It did not. Look at the fleet of the Iranian Air Defense: F-4s, F-5, F-7, F-14, Su-24, MiG-29. And of course, they have their original Azaraksh and Psyche and Kausar aircraft. Now look at the vintage of these aircraft. Vintage is from 1969 to 2013-14. Now, this vintage of aircrafts, they're actually of the time when Shah of Iran was there. Most of the US platforms came when the relations were before the revolution. Now, and what about their with 37,000 sanctions? What about the maintenance? What about the upkeep of the aircraft? What about the precise precision guided munitions which are there on board? Not that these aircrafts are bad. F-14 is a good aircraft. Su-24 is a good aircraft. MiG-19 is a good aircraft. But what about their serviceability, maintenance, training? They have not seen a combat after Iran-Iraq war. They haven't seen a combat. Whereas these guys are seeing combat in Gaza, they're seeing combat in Lebanon, they're seeing combat in everywhere and every day. That is the difference between a combat proven air force and a air force which has got, yes, good aircraft, but obsolete to some extent in terms of their vintage and doubtful maintenance, spare parts, ammunition adequacy, etc. etc. So we cannot say that they fled away or something. We can clearly say how is it that you know how many fighters? 230 fighters out of 400 aircrafts of it. You think all of them are important? They are not doing anything they are putting up fight. They are putting up a dog fight. But air superiority means that who has the edge? Now Russia, in 3.5 years of war, sir, the air skies are still contested because somebody says if you leave the air defenses alive, they will be ready to fight another day, and they keep the air defenses, they keep the skies contested. On 22nd February 2022, when President Putin launched an attack, he called it a special military operation, which will be over in a few days. Why? Why he said so? Because he knew that the might of air power which he put, you know how much air power? MiG-29, Su-25, Su-27, Su-30 attack helicopters, missiles, Caliber, Iskander, multi-barrel rocket launchers of Grad BM-21, Uragan, artillery, so much firepower. But air defenses could not be killed. Why not killed? Five reasons why they could not be killed. First reason was that when that attack took place in 2013-14, Donbass war, they realized that these giants are going to finish us off. They're going to kill us totally. They put the air defense control nodes, most of them, in concrete or underground. Something which Iran, whether it has done or not, it is not available in open source. But since they did not behave, the deduction can be an indirect deduction that yes, they took a hit. They did not take a hit. Number one. Number two, though President Putin and Kremlin may say surprise was not lost on 22nd February, to my reading and my analysis, surprise was lost to an extent. Most of their aircrafts were put under concrete. They could not destroy most of their aircraft. The air defenses remain alive. Also, they're targeting information. Now compare Mossad, 4 years. Sir, precise information on where is surface-to-air missile system, where is the launcher, where is the generator, where is the, as against firing a large number of weapons by Russian Air Force, most of them going duds and most of them not hitting their target. There were a lot of lacunas on battlefield awareness, precise location of targets, also their communication and connectivity. They used mobile communication for fire sometime. And the biggest cardinal sin they did, they never used their air defenses in a manner they were to be deployed. They were used as convoy serials, packed up in and moving in a convoy in a blitzkrieg fashion. They had taken a hit by their drone. So what I'm trying to say, air defense, earlier air defense used to be in one corner protecting some vulnerable areas. Today it is a mode of air denial. If you kill air defense, you achieve air superiority. If you cannot kill air defense, the skies will remain contested. A mightiest air force, second mightiest air force in the world. 1 2 days of war taken place. Skies are still contested, sir. That is the magic of air defense or the undoing of air defense in terms of Iran. We have to understand the growing
Absolutely.
importance of air defense.
I understood very clearly on that aspect, sir. So I just want to, you mentioned about this Iranian incapability of, detecting drones and, doing a kinetic kill of these drones, right? So when you compare it with Operation Sindoor, where the Indian Air Defense performed exceedingly well, so what do you think is the difference between what happened in the Iranian operations, Rising Lion and Operation Sindoor in terms of air defense itself, and how do they compare with each other? How did Indian air defense perform on that score?
What a beautiful question and what a beautiful comparison. Look at I have just brought about the um, inability of the Iranian air defenses and their typical lack of anti-US, we call CUS, unarmed aerial system weaponry. Compare it with Ops Sindhu. In Ops Sindhu, the opposite happened, sir. Our country woke up long back and they developed a large number of CUAS weapon systems. Our DRDO came long back with D4 system, you know, the system of their anti. And also there are private sector companies. There's a company called Zen Technologies Limited. This company is in the forefront of not only simulator, they're also a leading player in CUS weapons, counter US weapons. They are anti-ADS, they're the anti-drone weapon system. So what is the game which we're playing? We were playing a game of putting out a large number of anti-drone weapon systems based on EO, RF, IR based surveillance backed up by radar and soft kill, and also soft kill not only by one means, soft kill by RF, soft kill also by laser. And you will be so proud, I am so proud to tell you that our country is already moving ahead in making the hard kill available based on air defense weapons like ZU-23, based on L-70, also high power microwave. Not only DRDO is working on anti-UAV high power microwave Mark II, AU Mark II. There are private sector companies. There is a company called Tonb. It is in Bangalore. It has put out a system which is called the Wave Striker, which has got a tremendous amount of capability in bringing down the high power, bringing down the drones with the high power microwave. Then our old vintage L-70 and Zoo guns, they are not duds. People say, what is this gun? 1960 vintage. No, sir, not 1960 vintage is all right. Today they are upgraded to have an electro-optical fire control system. It has got a day camera, a night camera, a laser range finder, and a fire control computing device. Based on this, it is integrated with the anti-drone system, which has a EO and IR based surveillance. These two are eyes are linked with the kill, with the sword. Sword is what? Soft kill sword of RF and laser, and hard kill sword of air defense weapon. Nothing like this happened in Iranian air defense. There was a report, I was so surprised. I was actually pained to see that a surface to air missile had been launched to bring down a drone. Now this is a criminal to for an air defense warrior to fire a long range or a short range or a medium range surface to bring down a drone. You have to bring down a drone, and the cost of kill is equal to the cost of threat. So that is where we salute our air defenses. We say, sir, you know what is air defense motto? Akashe Shatrun Jahi. They actually did Akashe Shatrun Jahi in Ops Sindhu. You heard our DGAD when he was giving a podcast to ANI. He said this, that we were asked to protect the airspace and we did it to the best of our capability. So I'm not talking of BrahMos. I'm not talking of bigger weapons. I'm talking of Akash. They are bigger weapons for bigger system. Now
Yeah.
another, some people are asking these days, what is happening? Iron Dome, and so many Iron Dome, but still is Israeli airspace impregnable. They have to understand this word impregnability in terms of air defense power. No air defense weapon in the world is impregnable. What is impregnable? It means every air defense weapon has got a sensor, a shooter and a fire control system. A sensor has got a finite capability of detecting 100 targets or 60, whatever target, number of targets, and capability to engage certain number of targets at the same time. Every missile system has got a target handling capability. It can handle 15 target, 16 target, 10 target, whatever. If you overwhelm
Well,
this
yeah,
capability with missiles which are greater than their target handling and engagement
correct.
capability, some of them will fall. Look at the
Absolutely.
game of Pakistan. Game of Pakistan was what? The game of Pakistan in the first 4 days of war is overwhelm the air defenses with so much of small drone that they open up. Once you open up a sensor, like a
You identify.
conventional radar, I'm not talking of EOIR based, they're small game. Conventional radar which are controlling your big missile system, Akash, BrahMos, MRSAM, Barak, etc. Then what happens? There you open up your gold mine. Then come behind this drone attack. First of all, they overwhelmed you. You could detect 100, 400 came. You are overwhelmed. You also gave out your position. And then come behind them is coming what? Behind them is coming the unarmed combat aerial vehicles, cruise missiles, specific precision anti-radiation missile, which will take on your big systems. Therefore, what is the game? The game is do not let your impregnability be destroyed by, do not open up your big sensor. Use the game of, if enemy is playing drone, you play, and the enemy is playing drone, you do SAM, SR SAM. You do not play LRs, and unfortunately could not match game to game. That is where, and that was their undoing.
So essentially, what happened in Operation
But
Sindur was,
emotion,
yeah,
nobody has handled them.
yeah,
It is
the
the way.
game, yeah. So the game changer for India in Operation Sindur was its integrated air defense system that they had. So which was able to identify, there was how many, drones and aerial.
Yeah. You can say one thing. You
Yeah,
can say that a substantial air defense degraded at the hand of a higher technology,
technology.
higher precision, higher strike rate, and a higher strike rate air defense duly coupled with DEAD attacks,
Correct.
destruction of enemy air defense attacks, not done today. Intelligence gained over years of intelligence weapon. There is a information, there is a warning in Israel, Tehran.
Hmm.
Watch out for pickup trucks. Pickup trucks which are
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
in.
yeah,
They may be carrying drones. They may be carrying FPV drone. They may be
yeah.
carrying
Like
drone.
what
They may
happened in Russia recently
Imagine,
when,
imagine. Can you just imagine somebody doing business transaction smuggling drone? Is it easy to smuggle drone and part? A big drone is very difficult. You have to say hats off to the intelligence capability, the capability to subvert the network of the enemy. There also shows that how the regime at one side is going gray, going ruthlessly. Other side, there are large number of people for any reason. I am not saying economic, uh, patriotic, nationalistic. They were compromised. If you cannot compromise, how will you set up? They set up a drone control station. Now somebody is saying drone control station will be a big building. No, sir. What is drone control station? A few laptops, a few screens, a control and connectivity, a communication and connectivity node, which is seeing the screen and guiding the nodes. That's it. But establishing that in the heart of Tehran, is it a joke? It is not a joke. It is a high-end intelligence game which is supporting there. And that pilot which said that it is not a walk in the park, he says that I was under tremendous stress of this attack because I could not even tell my wife and child because they were the ones which are closest to me and I was bothered of their safety. But look at the secrecy. Did you hear on 12th June, then an attack like this is coming? Or did you hear How do you destroy? You have air defense weapons, you have guides, you have alerts, you have sentries. How any weapon can be destroyed? And also, there was a statement by Israel that most of their air defenses we destroyed on 14th, 13th morning, at morning hours
Yeah.
after the dawn. Why? Because they were lazy. They were now coming out of their sheds and loading their missile. That is not how air defenses are played.
In
And
fact, before Israel launched this Operation Rising Lion, there were enough indications and intelligence, open source intelligence, to show that this attack was coming.
yes,
Only thing is the Iranians were,
they
so
did not
lazy
wake up.
and
And you
they
know,
were,
look at the Rus, sir. Look at the Rus.
yeah.
On Sunday, the talks are slated in Oman. Sunday. Very thing is happening. Like President Trump is now saying time for peace after destroying
Yeah,
three. Now
yeah,
Sunday talk is there in Oman. Talks are going on for 7 days.
right.
Friday, the attack goes in. So you are one of
Absolutely.
the articles said how the twin players deceived the regime. Actually, they
Right.
deceived the regime
Yeah.
and destroyed. Air defense is only a pawn. It's only a pawn. But as air defense warriors, I feel pain to see somebody say, Iran air defense is nothing. What? They just fell like dominoes. Sir, you have to understand that the mightiest of the boxer, if he is blindfolded, if
Yeah.
his hands are tied behind the back, even a novice boxer can box him out.
Box him out. Yeah, correct. Absolutely.
That
I
is
agree.
why you have to understand. You have to see balance it. You cannot say Israel is all might. Israel is, sir, half of Haryana. Half of Haryana.
Correct.
That is the size.
That's
So
the size of
total
the
600
country.
aircrafts. They have got no less. Iran is not a. Iran is how many times their size of that
Iran is
country?
not a small country. Even in
Small country.
technologically, they are
And you
also
say
quite
in 36
quite good.
hours,
Yeah.
and you say 36 hours, you are achieving air superiority. Russia is trying for more than 1200 days. And there is Russian might, air power. And here is Israel.
Yeah.
And so this is
But
the
so
game
this
of
actually,
air.
absolutely, I completely agree with you on this. And this actually brings me to a very important question. Probably this will be my last question for the day with you. The warfare paradigm has changed because we all see and we have all seen and remember all these, this cold start doctrine that the Indian Army thought of, and they pivoted from defensive pivot core.
Yeah,
They formed this
absolutely.
pivot core for an offensive at a later stage, at a stage when there is an emergency and there is a requirement to pivot to offensive role. So this cold start doctrine and the
No,
series of
old game.
exercises that were conducted. I remember, plenty of
Yeah,
exercises were conducted in the
they've also,
Rajasthan
sir,
desert and everywhere.
white our hair in many years
Yeah,
of
I remember that.
wargaming. But
So, well,
it is,
the paradigm was that it is going to be a short, intense
yeah,
warfare where the armored core will be doing the role, and you will have this heavy fire and all that. But that kind of paradigm has changed since the
totally, totally,
2020 Armenian Azerbaijan
absolutely,
war.
absolutely. Sir,
Today, yeah, you
you look
see
at
all
one
these
thing.
conflicts. Yeah, all these conflicts
Look
have
at
kind
one
of,
thing, sir.
yeah,
Yeah, you look at one thing. Today, it is not only the military which fights the war, number one. It is a hybrid war involving multiple players. Multiple players. There is a narrative war going on. What Palki Sharma and one other journalist are feeding you, and what the Iranian Israeli media feeding you, is bringing your war to your TV room to build a narrative. To build a narrative.
yeah,
At other time, there are intelligence agencies that work for years together to make your things happen. Your intelligence is gathered over couple of years to get to. How is it you're killing precise people? Chief of IRGC, IAEA boss. How you're taking out people in this manner? Also, sir, drone warfare has arrived in a very big way. But let us not, I always keep writing in this manner, do not be blindfolded by only the drone war. Imagine the big player is sitting behind the farce of domain warfare with drones and swarm drones which will saturate your system. The big players are still important. The big players of your sixth generation aircraft, your attack helicopters capable of flying map of the earth, your cruise missiles which are all the way powered with sub-meter accuracy, your anti-radiation missile which can take out your sensors even when you switch off. Once the first lock on is achieved, you're not precision guided munition which can hit the dome where the headquarter of a terrorist organization, a dome where his family is staying. Can you just believe those 11 strikes on the first day of this thing? That this is where the standoff precision weapons have reached. And somebody's talking about Akash Tir and IACCS. Look at today, where is our air defense control and reporting system reached? Not only I am personally involved in the pennyworth, nobody, pennyworth of information on IACC and Akash Tir combination. When these Akash Tirs were born, I was a colonel that time, and we had a lot of turf between Army Air Force on seamless connectivity, on passage of information, on inter. Today, the connectivity between IACCS and Akashti is seamless. Today, their command control generation of air situation picture, recognize the situation picture, passing of data, control of warfare, precision control of, control of various types of air defense weapons, emergency, normal control, seamless connect. And the seamless connect showed up in Ops Sindhu.
Absolutely.
Of Sindhu showed you. And now I've just written an article, it is coming out in VIF, which shows that there is a big game of controlling the drones in this warfare. We have a holy grail. Holy grail is ISCCS, Akash Tir, and Navy Trigun. This holy grail cannot be degraded by the drone warfare, by the the swarm drones or the volley of. We have to learn how to manage the drone warfare in the IHCS game, where they have to be controlled. Do they have to, information has to go to the highest control node, or can we control it at the core headquarters, Joint Air Defense Control Center? What is the level of decentralization we have to give to ensure that certain drones which battle take place only in the visual domain can be finished there before the information going off the way up and down? Very big questions,
Yes, sir.
very big questions. So we are progressing much ahead, and we wish Iran also progresses on their air defense. I'm an air defense warrior, so I cannot say air defense was nothing. Sorry, sir. Air defense was something, but it was degraded to an extent that it became nothing. That
Yeah.
is my conclusion.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure talking to you and gaining knowledge of this sort.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, and for all your writings, for all your gyan that you give us on these
Thank you,
affairs.
sir.
It's a pleasure talking to you always, sir.
Only a humble servant, sir,
Yes,
of
sir.
the Army
No,
Air
I mean,
Defense.
in my culture we say
Thank you,
dasanu,
sir.
and
Thank you very
that
much.
is we are the das of a das.
Yes, sir.
So I'm like that, sir. I'm a das of a das.
Thank you, sir.
Pranam to you, and
Salam to
thank you
you,
so
sir.
much for
Thank
your
you, sir.
thank you
Bye,
so
sir.
much for
Bye-bye.
your
Thank you,
time
sir.
and wisdom, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Namaskar.